Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for checking in for day 3. Let me just turn you up here. Hi, Amos. Thank you for joining. So I've renewed my commitment to myself of I said to you that I would show up in my PJs or I could have makeup or whatever. I'm in my PJs. I made a commitment to myself this morning that I'm going to wake up, have a shower, and put brand new PJs on and just veg all day while working. I just want to be comfortable. And so this is me in my PJs. Okay, so where we left off yesterday is I was still going through module 1 of my notebook, on my coaching program, where I'm just exploring with myself as to what is and is not working. I have to turn my specs off again. I need to get the eyes tested. Okay, so I didn't finish module 1 yesterday, so I'm going to finish it off today. So where I was going yesterday was, or the last bits of the module was, I'm sorry, I've got Luna here. She's come for a little visit. Hey, Luna. Talking about negative self-chatter. So negative self-chatter. Hi, Joe Torres. Wow, fantastic to see you. I haven't seen you in a very long time. I'm not sure if you've checked out the other episodes, but I'm just going to give you a quick recap. So life has been a little bit of a challenge for the last 18 months for myself. And so I am putting myself through my own boot camp, my own coaching program to pick myself back up again. And so every day I am checking in and I'm letting you know how my boot camp is going. So I'm on day 3. So what we're discussing today is negative self-chatter. So any negative self-chatter that I may have adopted in the last 18 months, as well as my commitment to changing said behaviors. So one of the questions I went through yesterday was, where do you have unrealistic expectations of yourself? And where are you too hard on yourself? So I wrote down here, I hold myself to an extremely high standard. And I assume everybody else holds themselves to that same standard, but Sunny and various people tell me that's not true. And so I don't hold people as high of a standard as I would hold myself. So I give a lot of people a free pass. However, if I don't meet the mark on something, if I make a mistake, I can really beat myself up on it because I expect myself to do everything perfectly and right from the get-go. I expect myself to not make any mistakes, which I know is unrealistic, but I'm a type A personality. I don't know if you know what a type A is, but a bastardized explanation of a type A personality is I like structure, control. As an individual, I like Excel spreadsheets, red pens, rulers, highlighter. I like routines. I like discipline. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly. And if I don't do something properly, I give myself major shit. I will beat myself up over it. And I'm told on good authority that not everybody does that. And a lot of people will just do things if they don't miss the mark, they don't make the mark, they don't beat themselves up, they move forward. And that's a healthier way of looking at life. And so I recognize that I am a type A personality, but I had that under control for a lot of years. But I have ramped up that behavior of expecting myself to do everything and everything perfectly from the get-go. And I need to give myself a break. The next question in my notebook is, how do I stand in my own way? So I had to think hard about it. How do I stand in my own way? Where I, as an individual, stand in my own way is I spend way too much time trying to figure out other people's behaviors and drivers for behaving in a certain way or acting in a certain way. And I think I do that because I'm very analytical in my thinking. I'm also fascinated by psychology. And so I'm naturally at predisposition to want to understand the human makeup, the human psychology. But it's been a challenging 18 months for various reasons, going through a divorce, we've had a narcissist in our life, all sorts of things. And I have spent way too much of the last 18 months trying to figure out, well, why did so-and-so did this? And why did they say that? And what do you think the driver is? And, if I could only just sit down and have a cup of tea and talk reasonably with them, maybe they wouldn't be this way. I spend way too much time trying to figure out why other people do things. And that's how I stand in my own way, because I have to come to the realization I'm not always going to understand. And there's not always going to be a justification for a person's behaviors or drivers. And so that is how I can stand in my own way, in the sense of I'm spending time trying to figure out something that I'm probably never going to understand. And so therefore I'm wasting my life, and I need to hold myself accountable for that. Per normal, I'm just going to read comments because, again, you have given up your valuable time to watch me live. And so, therefore, I want to include you in the process. So, I'm going to read your comments. So, I see Amos is saying, trying to understand why others do what they can. Trying to understand why others do what they do can drive a person crazy. Absolutely. I think it's crazy making behavior. And so, I've come to the conclusion I'm best to try to understand human behavior by just continuing to read my psychology books and so forth, and just having a general interest rather than trying to analyze and work out people's behaviors in my own life. I need to just stop doing that. The next question that we can ask ourselves is, when you look in the mirror, what do you tell yourself? So some people might say to themselves, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm too old, I'm not good enough, smart enough, and so forth. I don't have that challenge. What I say to myself when I look in the mirror is, how in the hell did you get here and what happened to you? So, as I have said in my previous episodes, is when I was living in London a couple of years ago, I was at the top of my game. I was up at 5 o'clock every morning. I was meditating. I was running 6 miles. I was studying Buddhism and philosophy and mindset coaching. I was at the top of my game. And now we fast forward to almost 2 years later, and I am still waking up at 5 a.m. I still have that discipline. So I am still waking up at 5 a.m., but I'm not motivated to go run my 6 miles. I'm not motivated to keep reading my mindset books. I'll read a couple of pages and then I get distracted and I think, oh, hey, I should probably answer some emails. And I start focusing on my business first thing in the morning. And when in reality, I don't need to be worrying about building my cat cafe at 6 a.m. in the morning every single day. I have lost my discipline along the way. And so that's what I do when I look in the mirror, is I'm not judging my external looks. I'm very comfortable with coming live with no makeup and in my PJs. I'm totally cool with that. I'm cool with how I look. What I say to myself when I look in the mirror is, what in the hell happened to you? And how could you have let this happen to you? How could you have lost your discipline? And actually, that's not helpful. Me giving myself shit looking in the mirror is not helpful and is not solving the problem. And I need to knock that off. And then I'm going to include you again, Amos. You say some do things for no other reason that is just the way they are and without motivation. 100%. And when I put my compassionate hat on, I'm usually able to say to myself that most people are doing the best they can with their own level of consciousness. And to make that an easier quote, I'd say most people, I believe, are doing the best they can with the tools they have in their own toolbox. But again, I'm able to say that when I've got my compassionate hats on. Sometimes I don't have that compassionate hats on and I'm pissed off and think, why is you doing this? Why are you acting like a jerk? Why are you not being a good human being? And then I can go down that rabbit hole of trying to figure out, well, why aren't they a good human being? And what happened to them in life? And what made them become like who they are? So anyway, going back. So, oh, the cat just stood on my iPad and has moved my pages. So hang on one second. So then the next question was, what do you say about yourself, about who you are and what you look like? So what I say to myself about who I am is that I'm a really good person. I know I am. I'm a really good, salt of the earth human being, and I'm proud of that. I am a good person. I do say that to myself, and I acknowledge that I'm fundamentally a good human being that does everything I can every day to rise others up. In terms of my looks, I say, you know what, I'm looking good for 48. I'm nearly 49 now. I'll be 49 in March. I'm not doing too bad. So I'm pretty happy with myself. As I say, I'm very comfortable to come on lives with no makeup. I am 48. I'm almost 49 years old. I'm cool with that. However, I do give my shit myself shit sometimes and say, but you could look better. And I have to remind myself sometimes that I'm not 19 years old anymore. I can blame modeling for that. I was a model from the ages of 19 until I was 24, traveled all around the world as a professional model. And I have to remember that I'm not 105 pounds anymore and I'm going to have wrinkles and so forth. So most days I'm pretty good about it, going, hey, you're 48 years old. You're doing good, baby girl. And other days I'm like, oh, you're not that model anymore. So I oscillate between the two. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I judge myself for getting out of shape, for not looking like said 19-year-old. Sometimes I will look in the mirror and say, what happened to that marathoner? Again, I'm a small girl still. I'm not big by any means of the imagination, but I'm not in marathon shape that I was 3 years ago. So sometimes I will give myself shit for that. Again, writing that down and realizing that I give myself shit for that makes me realize I gotta knock that off, because giving myself shit is not motivating me and is not helping me to solve the problem. What will help me solve the problem is to put my runners on and go run. The next question is, what would I say to a friend who had negative self-chatter? What would I say to a friend who beat themselves up, who said they're not smart enough, good enough, educated enough, small enough, tall enough, big enough, whatever it is? What would I say to a friend? And I would say, be gentle on yourself, be kind to yourself. You're not perfect. And so today is a new day to start again. And so I need to take my own advice that I would say to a friend is I need to be gentle to myself and I need to be kind to myself. The next question in my program is, how would my life be different if I let go of negative self-chatter? Well, I would be a happier person. I would be a more confident person. I would be a more motivated person if I let go of negative self-chatter. And so therefore I'm going to give it up because I want to be happier. And then the next part of the program is ask yourself answering the how come questions. How come I don't exercise? How come I don't go running? How come I don't eat properly? How come I don't do whatever it may be? Fill in the blank. So in my case, how come I'm not running 6 miles a day? How come I am not following through on my commitment to eat properly, to stop eating cookies and sugar and crap and junk that I didn't eat in my marathon days? And the answer to this is the cold, hard truth of I have become lazy and unmotivated. And I think I have become lazy. I shouldn't say I think, I know. I have become lazy and unmotivated because I have gone through massive, massive changes in the last 18 months. And I have allowed those changes to overwhelm me, which has led me to become lazy and unmotivated, which has made me have a lot of lack of energy. And it's also had to the point where I'm tired all the time. I'm tired all the time. And I think it's I'm not physically tired, I'm mentally tired. And if I'm going to give myself a break, I'm mentally tired because I have had so many changes. I've changed relationships, I've changed living in countries, I've changed from being a homeowner to now a renter. I am now living in a different country, and there's a lot of cultural shifts that I'm having to get used to as well. I am also starting a brand new business, which I have never opened before. And so that takes a lot of mental space because I am learning a lot every single day. One, living in America and all of the different government bodies, all of the different regulations here, how to set up a new brick and mortar business. I'm learning the new legal system and all sorts of things. So if I give myself a break, there's a lot of mental learning every day, which leads me to be tired all of the time. But at the end of the day, these are all excuses. Literally, these are all excuses. And I need to knock that off. I'm reading here, Amos. I think it's because you put more on your plate than you were at, and then you let those things replace what you were doing before. Absolutely. So again, if I'm going to give myself a break, I've not just become some lazy shit. I think you're absolutely right, Amos. I've had so many changes and I've just put so much on my plate every single day. I'm putting more and more and more and more on my plate. And so something's had to give. But equally, I need to take responsibility for this. I need to make changes. So the next question in my notebook is, what motivates you to want to make changes? So, and the reason why this is a really good question to ask yourself is because you have to be motivated to make the changes yourself. You can't make changes because someone else is making you do the changes. I can't make changes because Sunny says you need to change, Claire, or somebody else tells me to change. It's not going to work. I have to be motivated to want to do it myself. And so, in answer to this question of what motivates me to want to make changes in my life, it's because I am tired of feeling tired all of the time. I'm tired of feeling blah. I'm tired of these roller coaster rides of I have a burst of energy for a few hours, do something in my business, find something out that I don't want to find out regarding the business. It knocks my confidence, knocks me down. I feel tired then, and I'm in this cycle. If I had if I was in the best optimal shape and I was eating nutritiously, if I was meditating every day and adopting all of those mindset principles, I would be in better shape to take on some of the daily challenges. So what motivates me is I am tired of feeling tired and I'm tired of feeling blah. Uh, what also motivates me is I miss that feeling of being on the top of my game. Uh, being a marathoner before, running every day, I used to run in the cold, the rain, the snow, whatever it was. It was hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy going out and putting your trainers on, or sorry, you call them runners in America. It's not easy to put your runners on when it is snowing and raining and it's cold and cold to your bones. But gosh, I used to love that after a couple of miles of negative self chatter of, I don't want to do this. This is cold. This is cold. And then all of a sudden you get in the zone and it's like, wow, I did it. I am doing this. I am on the top of my game. I miss that feeling. I'm going to interrupt myself. I need to have a drink here. Hang on one sec. Okay. So that's what also motivates me is I know how feeling in the top of your game feels, and I miss that feeling. Um, And ultimately, I want to feel happy and vibrant and fulfilled all of the time. So that's what motivates me to want to make changes. So now that's the last 3 episodes of Bootcamp for the Mind and Soul has all been about me exploring what is and is not working for me, what my self-sabotaging behaviors have been, what my negative self-chatter is, how I think, and so forth. And so now I'm wrapping up the end of this module, and I'm writing down the insights that I have gained by doing this module. And the insights I've gained are the areas I need to improve on are personal development. I used to dedicate a lot of time to personal development, mindset coaching, books, psychology courses, whatever it may be. I used to take courses all the time. I've taken loads of Harvard courses. There's a lot of Harvard courses you can take online that are free of charge or a minimal charge. I used to do a lot of them. I used to do a lot of personal development. So I want to work on that again. I want to work on my diet and exercise. I haven't had cookies in 3 days. This is a big thing, people. I want to get rid of my sugar intake, reduce that, get rid of it altogether, and I want to go back to my marathon days. I want to improve my self-image, how I feel about myself, and I want to spend more time going back to my spirituality. As I say, I don't believe in organized religion myself. I'm totally cool with other people doing so. I lean towards the Buddhist philosophy of be kind, be compassionate, be humble, live in the present moment. And I used to spend some time every morning meditating, practicing mindfulness, and reading about the Buddhist philosophy of being a good and kind person in all situations, even in the face of adversity and unkind people. So I want to go back to studying those practices. And then, the why question. Why do I want to do all of this? Well, I want to do all of this because I've been kind of low grade depressed for about 18 months. Not every single day depressed, but just I've had a bit of low grade depression. And I think it's just, I have been so out of my comfort zone for the last 18 months that there's just this hovering feeling of being uncomfortable all of the time, perpetually uncomfortable. And so I think that has brought on a lot of, not a lot, that's not true. It's brought on some low grade depression, and I want to stop that. Um, I've also been feeling very overwhelmed, as I say, not to belabor the point, but I felt very overwhelmed living in a new country. There's new cultures to get used to. I know we all speak the same language, but the cultural differences is huge between living in the UK and in America, and I'm struggling with it a little bit. I'm struggling with a little bit. It's a little bit more in your face here. It's a little bit more brash, and so I'm having to get used to that, and having to navigate my personality in this new environment. And so that's something that I have to get used to because I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Additionally, I'm tired all the time and I want to feel vibrant and I want to feel fulfilled. Amos is saying, make a list of all of the positive. Then when you can get into a negative headspace, you can take out the list and focus on all of the good things rather than the negative. Absolutely. That's really good feedback and advice. Thank you, Amos. Okay. So, going back here. So how am I going to start making these changes? I started to brainstorm on this. So I need to let go of all of the things that do not serve me. I need to acknowledge the things that do not serve me. And I understand what doesn't serve me. Sugar doesn't serve me. Eating lots of carbohydrates does not serve me. Beating myself up for not being in marathon shape does not serve me. Giving myself shit for falling down for the last 18 months does not serve me. It doesn't help me. This giving the shit all the time. It doesn't help. It just makes me feel more depressed. So I need to give that up. I need to cease the negative self chatter, the self sabotaging behaviors. I need to give up my excuses and actually just start making the changes. So then I move on to module two, which is all about taking responsibility and committing to change. Sorry, I'm getting dry mouth. One more drink. So I am now making a commitment to myself. For the last 3 episodes, have been analyzing my behaviors of what got me to where I am today. Now it's time to let that stuff go. And so I have now realized that my happiness, and I've always known this, but I forgot about this, my happiness does not lie with others. I have to take 100% responsibility for the changes that I want to make in my life, and I have to take 100% ownership for my own happiness. I'm responsible for my own thoughts, behaviors, actions, and inactions. Nobody's got a gun to my head. I have to do this myself, as does anybody who wants to make changes in their life. So that's important to remember, that we are responsible for our own thoughts, behaviors, actions, and inactions. And then I wrote down here, when you lose your excuses and blaming, you find your results. And I have also written down here, I am not willing to stay where I am at. I'm done. I'm over feeling tired all the time. I'm done with my excuses and feeling like shit. I'm done. I'm over it. And so therefore, I'm making a commitment to myself. There's an app that I used to use in London, and it's called Think Up. I can't remember what I used to pay, $30 a year, $50 a year. I can't remember what it is exactly. You can also pay for it on monthly, a couple of bucks a month, I think. It's called Think Up. And what you can do is you can record affirmations into this app in your own voice, in the positive, as in, I am healthy, I am strong, I am powerful, I am intelligent. Even if you don't believe that today, you record it into this app and you listen to this frequently throughout the day. It's important that it's in your own voice, because your mind will believe what you are saying and what it's hearing. And also, your mind does not know the difference between reality and not reality. So let me give you an example. I'm sure a lot of you have watched movies where it's made you feel frightened, or maybe you've watched a movie that's made you cry. And you're crying because you empathize with the character, or you empathize with an animal that's died, for example. The reason why you're crying is because your brain or your mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. And they say that affirmations help for that same reason. Is record affirmations in your own voice of how you want to feel, and you listen to it every single day, because again, your mind can't tell the difference between what's true and what's not true. And you listen to it every day, and eventually you will feel like the strong, confident, powerful, intelligent person. So that is the commitment that I am making to myself. I see, Joe, you said, don't like hearing my own voice. It's just weird. LOL. You can actually, in the app, you can actually use a pre-recorded voice. You can choose a male or a female, and you can use their own affirmations, or you can type in your own affirmations, whichever you prefer. But going back to myself is I'm going to actually start today writing down some of those affirmations, recording them, and I'm going to commit to myself that I'm going to listen to them several times throughout the day. It's also, they say, very important, if you do want to make change in your life, listen to your affirmations, ideally, Joe, in your own voice before you go to sleep at night. If that's the last thing you hear before you go to sleep at night, your brain will process that while you're sleeping in your subconscious mind. So the next point is, so how I am committed to myself that I want to make changes in my life, but how am I going to hold myself accountable? So this is how I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to make changes in my life, and I'm going to hold myself accountable by checking in every single day on the YouTube channel. As I've said in the previous episodes, I can't commit to the specific time every single day. Sometimes, like, again, I'm going to look fabulous because I've just come from an event and I'll be all dressed up with makeup. Other days, I'm going to be in my PJs like this. But I will commit that I will check in every single day, because you, the viewers, even if it's just you, Amos, or it's just you, Joe, or Jesse from yesterday, or Shauna from the other day, or even if nobody shows up, I will commit to showing up here every day. YouTube will be my accountability partner. And I hope that you join me on my journey as well, because you putting your comments here and engaging with me is helping me. So thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate that. And then the next question I put to myself is, how am I going to set aside time to make these changes every day? So this is what I'm loosely figuring out, and I'll have a more of a committed start to that tomorrow, is every day I will set aside 1 hour. So I'm thinking I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. Between 5 and 6 a.m., I'll make a commitment to either I'm going to go running for an hour, or I'm going to read my mindset books, or I'm going to do some motivational stuff, whatever it may be. But every morning I will do something that will help me to make these changes in my life. So I'm thinking that's going to be between 5 and 6 in the morning. And then I'm going to commit to an hour at night. Maybe it's before bed, or maybe when we're unwinding for the day. I just have to figure out how that's going to look, because as I say, we're in the middle of constructing Frisky Business at the moment that will be open in a couple of weeks. So I just have to figure out how that's going to work in terms of the exact times. But I am making a commitment to myself that I will set aside time every day. And if that means that I can't do as much volunteering in the community, so be it. I have to get me back up to optimum health and optimal mindset and happiness before I can serve other people. Hi, Pia. How are you? Positive thinking affirmations changed my life completely. Absolutely. And in the past, as I say, I used to do this all the time, and I totally changed my life. So I'm going to recommit to this. Um, and then, so finally, I'm saying to myself, I'm going to do something today that my future self will thank me for. And I'm going to say that to myself every day. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. So that could be things like, and that's for everyone, is today I will not eat crap. Today I will not eat cookies, because my future self is going to be happy for that. That's how I've actually stopped my cookie addiction for the last 3 days, is do not eat the cookies, Claire, because your future self that wants to go to sleep tonight will feel better for not going to bed with a belly full of cookies. So, and then finally, I didn't get this organized before I sign out for the day, is, again, I'm going to read one of my cards. So let me open this up. So I wasn't prepared. Ooh, this is a good one. So as I say, I read a card from my little deck every day to wind up the episode. So today's card says, letting go. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. Letting go simply means allowing things to be as they are without constantly struggling to control or resist an outcome, or continuously reminding yourself of an unhappy past event or a negative emotion. Yes, absolutely. I can be guilty of that. I have ruminated too much over the last 18 months about things that have been said to me, said about me, uh, shitty situations and so forth, and it is a absolute, complete and utter waste of my life because I cannot change the past. And I know that, but I forgot about that somewhere along the way. So that's our daily takeaway, is to remind ourselves to live in the present moment, stop ruminating on the past, and enjoy the here and now. Joe, Amos, Pia, thank you so much for joining. I very much appreciate you being my accountability partners today. I hope you tune in tomorrow, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Oh, and I was also going to say as well, I've got a community tab now on Itopia on the YouTube channel. I thought you had to have thousands of subs for that, but somehow I've managed to get that. So every day I'm going to put a quote, a picture, whatever it may be, on the community tab, just to keep us going. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. Take care.